Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
And okay, looks like we have Phil, Tim, and Alex today. The Johns might be popping in later, and Brian's out due to work. So cool, we have enough to play. That was my main concern. But that worked out. Cool. So, Space Seizures. That's where where we left you guys off. You're flopping around on the decks of the Akina Toroburu because of Esteban's pushing of buttons.
That's usually the reaction.
You feel a fluttering sensation in your neck as that foreign tissue is doing something to you. So we'll say that the seizures have stopped for some of you. So we'll say Esteban and Theo and Bryce have come out of their seizures, but the rest of the crew are still flopping about and drooling on themselves.
Wonderful.
So we'll just jump right into it today.
Okay, Theo, he'll get up he'll be rubbing his forehead and face. What was that?
Bryce just regains control of his jaw, and feels blood trickle down his cheek as he lies back in the inordinately messy, sensors positioned chair and cockpit in general. Theo, is everyone? Oh God, they're still. He just looks around the cockpit and tries to gauge what's going on with everybody. He rushes over to Longveer and I guess sticks his fingers in his mouth to keep him from swallowing his tongue. Colt? Where's Colt?
Theo will crawl over to where Colt is and do the same.
With his other hand, Bryce reaches over to the control panel and starts opening up vid windows to see what's going on with the rest of the crew.
As you look across the ship with the various cams, it seems that almost everyone is flopping and frolicking around on the ground. There's bubbles and drool coming out of their mouths, maybe some trickle of blood out their nose.
Where's Pawn?
You see that she's looking over at one of the Sallys. She seems to be caressing her head.
Okay, so she's not affected.
She doesn't seem to be.
Okay, we've got Pawn, okay. I can't see in the med bay, and I think that's where Esteban is.
I don't know what to do from here. It's
Bryce hits the comms once he determines where Genu is, and just says, "Genu, to the bridge, please."
Seems like Genu is on sentry duty, and all right, reporting for duty. You just see him marching towards his destination.
We need to carry as many as we can to medbay.
right, and he'll begin putting his arms underneath the dock and lifting him up and start dragging him.
Yeah, Bryce starts trying to lift Longveer, kind of gives up, and then switches to dragging as well. And looks around. Are the Sallys still in the cockpit?
I believe so, yeah. Well, one of them is.
One of them is, because the other's down with Pawn.
Yeah, Pawn seems like she's trying to do the same thing. She's trying to put an arm over her shoulder and sort of drag/lift Sally.
Okay. Are they on mid-deck, where Sally's room is?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, that's also where the med bay is, so at least she doesn't have long to drag her. Or far to, rather. So once Genu arrives, Bryce will start, I guess, telling Genu to help carry them over, if possible.
Yes, Bryce. I can do that.
Thank you, Genu.
Are there any other orders?
Just... Honestly, I don't know where to begin. This is top priority, though.
Understood. He'll start picking up the one Sally and Longbeer. One's over each shoulder, I guess. Starts walking towards midday. Clanking, as he goes.
So Bryce will just go over and help Theo with Colt as we move towards the elevator.
You see on the back of Colt's neck, it seems that whatever she have done has become infected. His skin is discolored. He looks like there's maybe bruising or something underneath the skin. And it's sort of like in the shape of that detected butterfly foreign tissue pattern.
Oh God, we need to figure out what this is. Theo, is this happening to mine too?
Hold on, let me look around you. He'll gaze around to the back.
There's no obvious discoloration, so it looks like he's fine.
He'll shake his head silently. No, you're fine.
Bryce, I guess, considerately checks him to... It's looking okay with you too. I wonder what's causing a different prolonged reaction in the rest of these, or if this is even related.
I have no clue. We'll have to get him to the bino scanner and run some tests to see what's going on. This is turning into such a wonderful day.
Bryce just takes a deep breath once they get in the elevator and, I guess, has the doors close and lower them to the appropriate level of mid-deck.
We're in the same elevator as the dead corpse, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, boy.
Oh, at least it's still fresh.
Oh, except it was singed.
There's gotta be a decontam for the whole ship. Is there anything like that?
Theo looks up at him with a... you would think it's sarcastic at first, but then you realize that he's not being sarcastic. He goes, yeah, hand scrubbers. Which I'm probably going to have to clean the entire damn system. Because the blood is sleeping through the fucking grates.
Is there anything... I'm half tempted to reroute some cleaning chemical through the fire suppression system. Oh, God.
Is there anything that I can do, gentlemen? I've been trying to reach Longbeer, but he is not responding. He seems to be with you.
Pawn? Is that you?
No, this is Aisho.
Aisho. Right, sorry, I'm so used to that voice coming through the system.
Did you refer to me as Pawn?
No, it's fine, I'm sorry. Aisho, just keep an eye on vital signs of everyone and give us an idea of triage. What's the most critical case?
It seems that all are suffering from the same malady, except for you and Esteban and Samantha. I believe
You have
that's
a read
the
on
name.
Esteban.
It seems that he is just outside of the med bay.
Well, that's good. At least we have another doctor here.
Esteban, can you hear the comms? Can you respond?
I think he was in the med bay because he pushed the button on the device.
Oh, okay. Well, it's been a little bit of time.
Oh, okay. Can I? Okay. I slowly start shaking my head, and I feel myself. I pull myself along on the floor, just very delicately, because I'm still in a state of shock over what just happened. And I pull myself up to the comm on my hands and knees and push the button. Yes, I am here.
I believe Samantha will be bringing one of the Sallys to you momentarily.
Why? What is the matter?
You have all suffered catastrophic seizures.
Very well. Esteban out. And I push the button to deactivate it. He slowly gets up on his feet, supporting himself on the wall, then he just walks back into the med bay, looking at the device that he pushed the button on. Then he hears a voice that says, "You idiot." Then he nearly jumps up out of his skin and lands on the wall and starts looking around. Who's here? Who's here? You idiot. He just carefully stalks around the room. Who's here? It is I, Esteban. I am here. What? I'm Esteban. No, the real Esteban. What? You're. This is just a figment of my imagination. What? I'm just hallucinating. This is just an effect from the device. You wish it was. You thought you could get rid of me. I am Esteban. I am the stronger one, and I will survive.
Who are you talking to? See the pale-faced, dark-haired girl holding Sally. Her head's sort of tilted.
He just spins around and jumps up and lands on the ground. Yes, little girl. I am suffering from the effects of this seizure that seems to have affected everyone. I am just a little disoriented. Can I help you? You have one of the crewmates.
Yes.
I go over and take her out of her arms.
Yeah, she was sort of like dragging her down the hallway, and
okay.
She helps you, but not a lot. But
I pick her up off the floor and put her on one of the available med bay examination tables.
She's making all sorts of noises, and her arms and legs are twitching violently.
Well, I think that I must restrain her because she is suffering from this condition. So I start putting the restraints on her hands and on her feet so she doesn't thrash around, put one over her head so she doesn't bang her head around. And I pull the examination arm from high off the ceiling down, putting it over her head and start running various scans, determining what exactly happened.
You'll see that that foreign tissue at the base of the skull is giving off lots of electrical charges and like sort of fluttering and undulating on the spinal cord.
Little girl, are you suffering from problems?
I think I was. I woke up and the side of my face was wet and I was laying on the ground, but I seem to have come out of it like you have. And
that is good.
Is everyone else all right, or is there more like this?
From what the computer told me, there seems to be more people who are suffering. I'm sure they will be brought along soon. His hands are noticeably shaking as he's scanning.
I've been thinking of something. I don't know why the she would have left us here. Don't you think they would have taken us with them? I'm a little concerned as to why they didn't take us, and these things they've implanted. Do they see us as no threats, perhaps? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I've scanned these things that they have put on the back of our head, and I am not overly certain as to what they are. But don't worry, little girl. You will be safe.
You can just call me. I was going to say Samantha, but I feel more like Pawn around you guys. Just call me that. Don't call me little girl.
Little Pawn, very well.
Guess I can put up with that.
Why don't you see if you can go help some of the others? I'm sure that there's others that might need some assistance.
I think that they're probably coming here. And she sort of gives you like a critical look. Are you sure you're all right? You seem like there's something else bothering you.
Oh, I'm fine. This is just a very difficult situation. But they might need help bringing the others here. Why don't you go see? It would be nice of you.
I really miss seeing your heat signatures and knowing your pulse rate. That was very helpful to determine a person's inner thoughts. I seem so limited in this form now.
Okay. And he just kind of gives her a sideways look and starts continuing to examine Sally.
How do you deal with this not knowing these limitations?
Slowly his hands stop shaking and he just puts his hands flat on the examination tables. You learn. You learn to read people. You learn to read everything. You see what people do. You see how they react to stimuli. And then you remember that. And you keep it in your memory for a time later on when they react in the same way.
So is this your normal reactions, or should this be noted as something strange?
My normal reactions to a violent seizure, I would say this is my normal reaction.
Understood. And she just turns around and walks out the door.
What is going on? What's going on? I just keep examining her. You idiot. You push buttons on the device. You don't even know what it is. He just spins around. You're not here. You're not here. You're just a figment of my imagination. You're not here. You're not here. You're just a figment of my imagination.
And we'll fade back to the other guys. The elevators come down to the correct floor and opened up.
Okay. Well, it's just around the corners of the med bay. Let's keep them elevated.
Copy that.
So I guess we head through the med bay doors.
Okay. It's not long before you see Pawn, and she just came out, and she's, you're here already. That's good.
Yeah, Genu should be coming shortly with the other two. Pawn, are you okay?
Oh, I was a little disoriented at first, but I think I'm okay. Esteban was just teaching me ways to tell if people are lying and their inner thoughts. How you're supposed to catalog their mannerisms.
Bryce just nods a bunch and continues through the door.
You'll see Esteban in there?
When the others walk in, he just... Yes, please put them on the examination tables.
Yeah.
And the Theo just looks at you and goes, where else were we going to put them?
I don't know. I am trying to be polite and kind in this situation after I've suffered a massive seizure.
We all have, Esteban.
The gibbering noises are just like filling up the room. The Longbeer and both Sallies and Colt.
Do you want them face down? That way we can examine the back.
At least one of them.
He looks over to Bryce. Let's flip the dock over then.
Yeah, there's something you should see here.
Yeah, you'll see this like rhythmic pulsing motion on the back of his neck, and it's all discolored. It's like a giant bruise that's spreading up his neck and down the center of his back.
I grab hold of the examination arm and I walk over there, holding it. As I'm holding it, swinging it over to there, looking at it, very concerned, and I pull the examination device down and start focusing on it, running various bioscans on it.
All right, what does the bioscanner show?
It shows because he already ran a cellular composition on it on himself, and he examined it down to a microcellular level, so he sees it's still in the same place, but also has some sort of constricting effect that it's done. It's wrapped tendrils out of the cell structure, and it's wrapped around the base of the skull and around the cerebral cortex, and it's going down the spinal column, and it seems to be constricting. And there's also some sort of chemical that it's releasing, but it's not on record as to what it is.
Oh, that doesn't look good. Is that going to happen to all of us?
I think that is what happened from the seizure. Theo.
Yep.
I think I must mention, about the time that this happened, that device over there, that green orb with the handles on the side, it started flashing lights, and it was at that time that I went into a seizure.
Theo begins looking around frantically. He's like, what device? What were we talking about?
And he points over there to the strange glowing, green orb device with the handles and the flat surface on the bottom.
He kind of starts tilting his head and moving his body a little bit. Where do these come from?
They have been here ever since the engagement with the she. And he pulls out the other two that were underneath the examination table.
Oh, that's odd.
Yeah, they're very strange, and they don't look, they're obviously alien in construction and materials and all that.
Alright, so we have these devices. We have things in the back of our skulls. If the she put those things there, why would they leave behind their devices? Unless maybe we stole these?
Well, I remember seeing Gino with fluid that I'm assuming is some sort of alien blood splattered all over him. Perhaps he dispatched the remaining ones and they could not remove their devices.
All of a sudden, you start seeing his right hand tapping at his side in a very rhythmic fashion as he starts rubbing his head in what looks to be a deep thought. Okay, all right. And then as he starts nodding his head, all right, I'm going to try to examine these and see how they function. Maybe there's some sort of signal it produces. You said that this activated when you pushed a button on it, right?
No, I did not touch it. It started flashing lights. He points to the one that he actually pushed, but he says, this was the light that started flashing.
This one. All right. It's just on its own, right?
Yes, on its own. I do not know what signaled it, but something happened, and after that point, I fell on the ground and I lost consciousness.
Lost consciousness. All right. I'll take this up to the machine shop then. I'll try to do some scans on it. Try to see what's on the inside. And then he'll just walk out with it. Then he'll walk right back in and he'll grab the other two devices.
You'll walk past Gina, who still has the stains on his chest and display screen and arms.
When he does that, he'll actually walk right back in a fast pace, and he'll peek back in. I know this is kind of not on the list of things to do, but you might want to scrape off that substance on him and put that underneath the microscope.
Yes, that is a good idea. I will do that as soon as I am done examining all of these seizure cases.
Nods his head and heads right on back.
So I just continue running scans on it to see if there's any change, if there's fluctuations, if it seems like there's any sort of rhythm to it, or if it's lessening, intensifying. Just watching it completely and carefully.
Right now, it just seems like the pattern is repetitive and ongoing. The thing inside the neck is fluttering and sending out electrical charges. You'll see that Pawn goes over and grabs some petri dishes and test tubes, and she starts scraping off some of the fluid off of Gina and collecting it.
Thank you very much, little Pawn.
Seems like everyone else is busy. I don't really have anything to do.
Do you know how to run the examination devices? The bioscanners?
Can't say that I do.
Well, go ahead and continue collecting this fluid off of Gino.
There you go, Gino. Isn't that better? Yes, Pawn. Thank you.
Bryce has seemingly been spaced out looking at the scans of the thing on the doctor's neck. Disconcerted by their structure. But then turns to Esteban after hearing his question. Yeah, I can run those. What do you want examined right now?
Pawn is collecting some samples of the fluid remnants that are on Gino. Perhaps doing a microcellular examination to see what it is would be helpful.
Right, yeah, of course. He moves over and kneels next to Pawn and starts looking at those, occasionally glancing over as though kind of in disbelief that Pawn is actually all right. But for the most part, focusing on the work.
Every once in a while, you'll just see Pawn look over at you and smile, and then she focuses back on what she's doing. Here you go. Here's a dish that's full.
Great, thanks. He takes it over to a counter and begins to scan.
You'll guess that it's some sort of blood-like substance. The one thing that comes up in the scan, though, is that there seems like there's nanotechnology that's knitting the cells and things back together. Or at least they're floating in the substance, even though it's not all the way dried. It was still kind of moist.
Is it a biological nanotechnology, or is it like electronic machines?
We'll say that it's, well, what do you think? How about that? What do you want to think? What do you think is more interesting?
Well, I know you'd be more disconcerted if it were electronic machines, especially given what he's been thinking about the doctor's neck issue.
Okay, we'll say that it's they're little machines then.
Esteban, can you look at this with me?
Yes, of course. What have you found?
A moment ago, I was looking at the tendrils in Colt's neck, and they reminded me, and this is reminding me even more so, are these anything like that entity, that thing?
The entity? The thing?
The cybernetic tumor?
The cyber tumor. Let me examine. I have not considered that. So he pulls the examination arm over there, and he brings it down and starts examining. I guess I don't need this here. And so he just starts using the console tools, examining it.
You won't find any machine technology in the actual tissue. It seems that it's pure organic that's inside of you.
Well, that part's a relief. But what do you make of these machines? We'd seen something sort of similar on this ship when we first got here. It was some technology that the Earthers were experimenting with. He kind of does a double take when he says Earthers, as though he probably shouldn't have categorized them that way, but yeah. It was causing sort of similar cell regeneration. I'm wondering if they got it from the she.
That is very interesting. I just began examining it. I pull up any records that I have in the medical bay on the cyber tumor and start cross-referencing them to see if there's similarities.
It seems different. Pretty much all the way around. Even the organic bits of the cyber tumor seem to be different.
Well, I think you will be glad to know that it does not seem to be related. They seem like two completely different technologies.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or even more frightening. But it's good we're narrowing it down at least.
I cannot do specifics on the examination of the nanotechnology. I am not very fluent in this sort of field of engineering. Perhaps maybe I could give a thorough scan and send it to Theo. He might know something better.
Long would probably have the most expertise once he's conscious. I'm not sure how much Theo's worked with nanotech, but it's possible he'll know a thing or two.
Unfortunately, it seems as if Captain Longfear is suffering from a seizure, and I am not certain how long this will last. He may be indisposed as far as his expertise.
If they continue going through this stress, how long will any of them last?
I cannot say. I cannot say what is exactly causing it, other than the fact that there is some sort of cellular growth that are coming out of that entity, that thing, that biotech on the back of our necks that is interacting with their spinal column as well as their cerebral cortex.
Is sedation a safe option?
We can try it, definitely. I'm not sure how it will affect the entity thing, the technology, but it can't hurt. He pulls off some hypospray sedation off of one of the trays, and he goes over to Longfear and injects him.
And it doesn't seem to help.
Yes, I was afraid that this might happen, but perhaps if he is conscious under there, it might have weakened his reaction to it on a consciousness level, but I cannot say that it is affecting him on a biological level.
Well, what options do we have? Are there any avenues of exploration that...
I have never encountered something that is interacting with on a cellular level as this. It is not just attached itself, it has fused itself on a cellular level, microcellular level. It will take some time to come up with a...
Tim, are you still there? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, let's see. Tim just got quiet all of a sudden. Or if he lost his connection. Well, we'll just go on without Tim right now. So, Esteban is working and just saying that whatever he's trying doesn't seem to be working.
Bryce heads over to the demolecularizer heat that had been used in this room unbeknownst to him somewhat earlier, and I guess is the reason that the other Esteban is no longer there. And starts just kind of pulling up data sheets on it to see how precisely it can be used and things like that. So he's just doing research at this point.
Okay. And just going to go over to Theo.
As Theo makes his way down to the machine shop, he's muttering to himself, and somewhat in a loud fashion, "Fuck, man, this is not what I wanted here. This is one thing after fucking another." He finally gets into the shop and he just gently puts down the items before him. "All right, let's see what you got inside of you bastards." And then he begins trying to scan the interior.
Okay, so you're working on the sphere, and as you're doing so, this thin blue line of light starts at your head and then just scans you from head to toe. Seems like one of the third devices is doing this.
Oh, jeez. The hell... He's hesitant to push any buttons. He just lets it continue.
The light turns off after it goes from top to bottom. It seems like a handheld device.
Curious. He'll continue to scan on the sphere, trying to get some sort of internal readout.
You'll see that the internals of it are organic. They seem to be sort of getting charged and shocked by the apparatus around it.
With that, Theo will he'll chime in the comms back to the others. Hey, this is going to be sounding strange, but this equipment here is more or less almost alive in a way.
In some ways it makes sense given what it's controlling. There are no electric components in the tumors themselves, so if it's to influence them, I don't know.
I wouldn't say there are no electrical components. It's just like a nervous system.
That's true. Electronic, I guess, is more what I meant.
No. You're on the right track. This is really strange.
I've been looking at the demolecularizer up in the med lab, wondering if it's possible to use that for something as precise as removing this thing, given that it's fusing on a microcellular level.
Yeah, I don't know if any demolecularizer is that accurate. They're usually used in mass waves. It might be possible, but let's save that for a last-ditch effort, shall we?
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll keep exploring other options. What about the other two machines you found there? Or you have there? Are they all
I haven't done any
organic?
scans on them yet.
Do you want a hand with that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and come up here. Esteban.
Yes?
Let me think here. All right, so our bodies are not rejecting the tumors, obviously, right?
No, they do not seem to be. They seem to be reacting to the whatever it is that is changing within these biological units, these devices, tumors, I guess we can call them, but they do not seem to be rejecting them, because when they are at rest, we function fine, as if there was nothing going on.
Is there any way for you to get a sample off of them? Just a tiny sliver.
I can try. I was curious. I was listening to Bryce talking about the demolecularizer. What if that was used in conjunction with the 3D printing device as we demolecularize tissue off of the back of one of the subjects? If we somehow worked these together so it started printing replacement tissue in its place. This is just a theory. I have no technological know-how in this regarding this device.
So you mean using it to make a copy of what we have inside of there, almost like a scanner?
I was thinking more on the lines of removing it. What if we demolecularize, if it works on the tissue, demolecularize some of the tissue, and as it's demolecularized, if it destroys some of the healthy tissue with it, we use technology from the 3D printer to recreate that tissue, putting it back into place.
The problem is that it's at the base of the skull, and if we're not precise enough, which we have to be pretty damn precise, and if we mess up even once, we may end up severing the spinal column, and then afterwards, we'll have to immediately print out that part and then reattach it. And I don't know about you, but I'm not really a surgeon in those regards.
Yes, it was just a thought. I was thinking if somehow we could rig a device up that it replaced it, so that as it was demolecularized, it was immediately rebuilt into that location. But it was probably a fanciful thought. It was probably not practical.
It's a strong idea in any case, Esteban, and we need all the ideas we can get.
I will attempt to I'm sorry?
Check the 3D printer and make sure that, I don't know if we were uploaded before that, but if we have these things on us, maybe it might reprint those things out again, should something happen.
Yeah, I've seen all the files pretty thoroughly, so I should remember what everything looks like. At least vaguely. I'll be able to detect whether they've been modified in that sort of way, I would think. I'll take a look.
I would love to take one of these things apart, but I don't know what effect it might have on everyone else.
I will try to remove a sliver.
How do you remember what side that this thing got pushed or something before it activated?
It was sitting on the examination table. We removed them from underneath of the bottom tray, and we put it on the top. There was no lights activating at the time, but that particular area that I pointed to, it began to flash.
Okay. That's a start.
Okay, I think we're going to try something a little fun here. Well, maybe not so fun. So we'll start with whoever wants to volunteer first, but I'm going to have you guys have a flashback of a period of time that you guys have no memory of. So this would be stuff that happened, or just like almost like a photo or several photos, like a mental picture of some of the things that happened while you were blacked out. So I'm going to kind of let you guys fill in the blanks a little bit here. So that period of time when the she invaded, before just that missing period of time. Yeah, feel free to come up with some things that happened, just brief glimpses of that dark period in your memory. So whoever wants to go first.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm crawling through the Jeffries tubes, one of the horizontal ones, and I'm pulling behind me Kazuko.
Nice. Okay. So you get a brief little vibrant flashback of that, and we'll do that for Bryce too.
Okay. I'm sitting restrained in the tent that Esteban kind of locked me in. And I all of a sudden start sensing these different new thought patterns around me, symbols flooding through my brain, some of which I can almost decipher, but they're flitting by way too quickly, and I'm somewhat sedated. And then suddenly it's like I'm flattened or squished against the floor. The entire tent collapses and is almost sucked against Bryce's body like it's being vacuum sealed to it. And he starts feeling these flexible, curving needles slipping into the veins in his legs. The strangest thing is that it also feels like they're slipping into his mind, not his skull or his brain, but his mind, and they're slipping in as a whisper that he can barely hear and desperately wants to decipher, but just can't. And the rest is all silence. He loses his sense of hearing, he loses his sense of smell, and it's just this pain of metal entering his veins, and just this aching, tiny sound that he can't place, and it's sending his head in circles.
Okay. And Theo gets a little flashback as well.
We see Theo running along the corridor with one arm. The emergency lights are flashing on the inside, going from black to red as the lights flashing about. He sees images, figures in the distance, tall, cast in shadow, silent as they seemingly hover towards him. He can feel pressures on his mind and spine, as if someone's grabbing his head and forcing him down. He resists as much as he can. He remembers being thrown against the side. Struggling, he activates his flame kizzen. He sees the figures recoil. In the brief light of the flames, he can make out the shadowy figures as they lurk back into the shadows, and yet not a full retreat at all. he glimpses what looks like a flash of silver as it hacks him from the side. He finds himself spinning and looking up at the lights as they're flashing, and then he feels a very cold, forceful hand on his cheeks, and feels as if there's something staring back at him, almost the same way you would stare back at an experiment, somewhat, but with only the coldest of expressions, and that's all he remembers from there. The cold palms pressed up against the face, smushing his expression with a tightened grip.
All right. After the vision, you guys are back in the med bay, and you feel this tight sensation on the back of your neck, almost as if the flesh and foreign tissue that's there is literally holding up your entire bodies. As you look around, you're sort of like hovering and levitating a couple inches off the ground. Your feet are sort of dangling there, sort of shaking, and then you sort of fall a couple inches to your feet.
Bryce's flashback has sent him into a panic state, and suddenly everything feels like it's sealing in around him. So he dashes out of the room and upstairs towards the where the EV suits are kept, and starts putting one on.
You'll see that Pawn tried to reach out her hand as you were leaving, but she didn't grab you.
Once Bryce has it on, he'll just open the docking bay and kind of jog along to the midsection of the ship on the outside and lie down looking at the starscape and just trying to breathe properly and feeling like he's being cut off when there's nothing really preventing him from breathing. In just every couple minutes, or every couple moments I should say, it's like there's a catch and more panic, and he's just trying to lose himself in the amount of space around him and failing.
And Theo and Esteban are left there as Bryce has fled the room. Seems like Pawn had also experienced a similar thing. She has this bewildered look on her face.
Well, what just happened? Did you experience something?
I saw a face before me that wasn't human. And it was inside of my head.
What about you, Theo?
There is silence for a few moments as after that experience he immediately almost backs up / falls and collapses into the side of a wall that's back up against it, grabbing his left arm. His left arm is still functional, but it takes on a limp quality, and he just grabs it as if it's not there, and grasping it, he begins shivering slightly, sliding down. His heat aura kind of activates at that moment, and he is filled with thoughts of frustration and fear coursing through him. And you begin to hear, besides the slight crackling of flames, some heavy breathing. And then a little bit afterwards, you'll hear him respond back. I think I saw something.
Yes, so did I. I was hoping I was not just hallucinating.
Is It's like a memory.
Like a still, a flashback, a brief moment in time. Did you experience any sensation with your thing on the back of your neck?
I don't know how to describe it, but it was almost as if it was holding me.
Yes, so did I.
Holding me just like that damn hand.
Hand?
I remember feeling a hand on my face, something looking down at me.
Very interesting. I remember being in one of the Jeffries tubes, pulling one of your former crewmates behind me. I should investigate. Are you going to be okay if I leave for a moment?
Yeah. Yeah, but what are you going to investigate?
See, perhaps there is a crewmate still there. I do not know. They do not find any other life signs, but perhaps his body is there, and it might give some indication as to what is going on.
Okay. Just
There
like
might, if there is a dead body there, perhaps we can experiment on the device if he has one implanted.
perhaps. Wait a second. Why don't you get Aisho to do a scan?
Ah. I do not believe I have command authorization to do such things.
Oh, let me try something. Aisho.
Yes, Theo. Is there something I can do for you?
Could you scan the ship and see if there's any deceased crew members on board?
I'm not sure if I can comply with that order.
Why not?
My parameters don't... Checking. Unable to respond.
That is not normal.
Is there anything else I can do for you, Theo?
And then after he does that sigh, suddenly his eyes light up and he kind of drags himself up. Display images of the outside. See if there's 2 objects latched to the side of the hull.
He displays the outside of the ship. I don't think I know what you're referring to.
Fred and Melma.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're there.
And so is Bryce.
And so is Bryce.
You'll suddenly hear on the comms, Bryce, what the fuck are you doing out there?
Are there comms built into each of the EV suits?
Yeah, I believe we already had that established.
Okay. Theo, we're all being crushed in there. There's no... What's the pressure that... Theo.
Bryce, what's going on, Bryce?
You see him moving his hand down, contemplating disengaging his soft mags.
Whoa, Bryce. Careful there.
It's all gonna close in, Theo. We're stuck. There's no way out.
Look, no. There's always a way out. Don't sit there and do that, all right? Just stay calm. Stay calm. With that, Theo begins running down to to get his E-suit on.
Yeah, I think Pano's going to be close on your heels, too.
After they all leave, I run out and I start making my way to that Jeffries tubes I saw the flashback from.
Okay. We'll say that you get there first. As they're suiting up and getting ready to head back outside. You find the right one. Takes a little bit of time. What do you discover?
It looks like there's quite a bit of blood that's along this whole way. It's dried. It's been there for a while. And he finds, looks like some remnants of flesh. And there is a head of Kazuko in there.
His tongue sort of loosely on one side, hanging out his mouth.
I just jumped back, kind of startled, looking at it. What? I was not expecting to find anything here. So he kind of picks it up by the hair, or was he bald?
I think he had something.
Okay. It just depends on how recently he was cloned.
Yeah.
So I pick the head up and I start making my way back out of the Jeffries tube, very carefully backing out, trying to stay away from the blood and the flesh remnants on the side of the wall. Still just trying to force myself to remember what happened here. How did this happen? And I take the head out and I take it back with me to the med bay.
Okay. So as he's walking with Kazuko's head, everyone else is now outside of the ship. And when Theo comes out, Fred and Melba do come over. But so they're all sort of hanging out at the same location around Bryce. And Pawn is suited up as well. But she seems to be going much slower than Theo. Am I doing this right? I feel like I'm going to just float away into that out there.
That might be for the best, Pawn. We're going straight for them, but they'll never find us if we're just there. We're just floating. There's nothing around us. There's nothing to cage us in. There's nothing for them to target.
I'll go with you, Bryce, if you want to leave.
Bryce has already got one of the soft mags disengaged.
She moves over to Bryce and grabs his other hand.
And he disengages the second, starting to float upwards.
You'll see that Theo sees her reaching down to do the same thing. Down to her right leg. Bill, are you muted?
Whoops, yep. Oh, okay. I'm shouting into the mic. He looks up and goes, No, don't do that, stop it!
But he wants to go away, Theo. Shouldn't we go with him? She reaches out her hand to you.
He grabs it, and he's tethered onto the to the ship, and he pulls them both back down.
Okay, I guess Bryce hits with a thud. An inaudible space thud.
But we were just going to float away, Theo. What's wrong with that?
You'll die. That's what's wrong with that.
Theo, we're going to die either way.
Oh, shut up with that, Bryce. Jeez. No, normally I'm pessimistic.
He's making a good point, Theo.
What point is that?
We are all going to die out here. I've known that ever since we left Gonjan.
Well, we're not dead, are we? We're alive. So that kind of puts your little assumption on hold, doesn't it?
We're so much more useful to them alive.
Well, let's change that then, shall we?
Maybe they're tracking us and they know where we are. Maybe they can read every thought we have.
Good. Then I hope they're reading every thought of me wanting to whoop their sorry asses.
Bryce actually does read that thought. I think he's just he's so lost for hope that he actually will reach into Theo's mind and read surface thoughts.
Alright, those thoughts are very violent. Explosions, fire. You almost see like a mental image of him like standing there, and it's almost like a memory he had. He's got like what looks like a little trigger device, and he's like pushing it, and then you see like these like sections of what looks like the interior of a station like explode, and you see like various ship parts and things just flying about, and a sort of like a bright yellow flame that fades into a deep azure blue before it fades off.
Something else happens when you invoke that power, Bryce.
Oh.
You get this image of like you're seeing through someone's eyes, and there's blinking, and the eyes are looking around, and all around you is this very bizarre looking scene of bodies without heads, tubes and liquids flowing into them. You see various female bodies and male bodies. Some of them are missing limbs. Some of their insides have been removed and replaced. You see one body to your right that has this ballooning structure coming out from the inside of his stomach that kind of rises up about 15 feet into the air above it, and things are moving through the gas and substances that are inside of it, sort of translucent.
Are any of the bodies recognizable?
You think that one of the headless bodies resembles an L. And then it sort of ends. Okay.
It ends to the sound of silenced rifle fire. I guess underneath the kind of echoing of the crackling that was in the flames Theo depicted. And Bryce re-engages his soft mags and starts moving towards the docking bay.
Are we not going to float
We're
away?
taking care of Anel. We're taking care of the rest of the crew that they have. We're taking care of them. Never mind, Pawn. Never mind.
Okay, maybe some other time. She follows behind you.
You'll see Theo like he'll have his fist balled up. He'll kind of jack it a little bit. He goes, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about."
Bryce isn't really showing that level of enthusiasm. He's just showing that he's marching to his death, basically, except in a more violent way.
Theo walks up to the Med and Velma bots, and he'll get out his data pad, and he'll start asking them to transmit any visual data they have from the past 2 days.
And they look at each other, flashing lights to each other, and then back to you. Sorry, jackass, it's been erased.
By who?
They show you one image of a ship that's far away. Last memory. And it's the she vessel.
There's the motion of him, like, his arms collapsing down to his side. This kind of, like, shrugs his shoulders, like, all right, fine, whatever.
You'll notice that they have an additional attachment to each one. It's this round, like, half sphere.
What the hell's this? Hey, Fred and Melba, what is that?
Unknown.
No, gosh, alright, whatever. He tries to scan it from there.
The scanner it's some sort of technological device. It seems to be half made up of some sort of liquid.
Liquid?
It reads as trigenium.
Oh boy. This might be a bomb.
Esteban to anyone.
Yep.
Esteban to anyone.
Yes, Esteban.
I have some disturbing news that I thought I should share. I went to the Jeffries tube that I had the flashback from, and I have found the head of one of your former associates, and it looked like a violent death in there. There was blood and tissue sprayed all over the walls.
Did you find the neck with that?
Yes, it was the head and the neck. I'm going to begin scanning this, see if he has this tumor on him as well. But I've just gotten back to medbay. I just thought you should know.
Thanks for that.
And Esteban goes into medbay and starts checking, see if the tumor was implanted on him as well.
All right, as you're scanning it, it seems like it has a partial butterfly-shaped tissue in there. It looks like it's been torn or ripped, or it's frayed, sort of. And as you're looking at it, you get another flashback.
You want me to come up with it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
if you're ready.
Okay. So he's a flashback of him standing outside of his quarters, and Sally is standing there, except she has a vacant look on her face, and all of these tendrils sprout out of the back of her neck, and that's the end of it.
All right, and we'll say that Theo is coming in through one of the hatchways, and he gets another flashback as well.
All right, this time he sees. He finds himself running. He's just collapsed onto the floor to his knees. He's in the med bay, and all of a sudden, feeling cold and wet from the embryonic fluid around him, he staggers up like a young calf, and almost instinctively begins to run out. There are bits and pieces of clothing about it. He just grabs them and hurriedly rushes them on. He hears blaster fire. Again, the black shadows illuminated by the red flashing lights. He runs about. All kinds of messages and voices over the comms, but he can't make them out. They're all just a winding blur. And he makes his way up to down to the docking bay to where the fighter is, and all he has in his mind is blasting those creatures out of the sky.
And then Alex has another one? Or Alex, geez, Bryson.
Bryce's flashback also begins with him covered in embryonic fluid, except as he adjusts with his newly cloned eyes, the medbay is awash in this sort of bluish light. Some of it is being shed from the orb that was found in the room. And you can see these creatures floating, almost orbiting what appears to be a human body that's hovering above them in the air. And one of them is holding up the long, kind of more rod-like implement. And as he traces lines across this figure in the air, it's stripping away layers and splaying them apart, so it's like a constellation of anatomy in the air of the room. And you can see that there's another chi floating around that seems to be collecting samples that have been splayed off in this strange, almost web-like, almost cellophane-like substance. And whenever he has a portion enclosed, like musculature, for instance, as a category, he seems able to compress it in his strange hand, and it just becomes a little marble, like a pearl, just rolling around in his palm. But eventually it gets down to the point where it's just a human nervous system floating there. And as that's being taken away, Bryce can see bits of metal drop out from the from where the brain once was, and hear them clang against the floor outside of the cage, or outside of the printer, rather.
All right, and then everyone is right where they were. This time, they're not floating, however, they're just sort of vibrating. Arms are flailing.
At this point, Bryce is just tearing apart his room, looking for his rifle, and then remembers that he left it on the bridge and starts heading there instead.
Theo's on his knees hitting the floor with his fists.
Esteban is just standing in the med bay. He's looking at both the Sallys, just staring at them.
After a while, he'll take a few deep breaths, and then he'll get up, and then make his way back. He'll collect the 3 items, and he'll begin to do some more deeper scans.
Esteban slowly walks over to the examination tables after about 5 minutes of just staring at the Sallys, one of the vacant examination tables, and he puts the head gently down on it while still keeping an eye on the Sallys. And he starts examining the tissue that's on the back of the head, just determining whether it's still alive or what's going on with it. He sees that it actually still has a little bit of life in it. It looks like it's faded, but it's not quite as strong as those that are in the rest of us, but it still seems to be active on a cellular level.
Bryce winds up back on the bridge and finds his rifle, although it's covered in human feces, and he realizes that he's probably made a mess of the EV suit too at this point. He just kind of furrows his brow and heads back down the elevator with it slung over his back.
Esteban to everyone. Anyone who can hear me.
I can hear you, Esteban.
I am assuming that you had another reaction to the device.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I have brought the head to the med bay, and I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but it is news. The alien technology, the biotechnology, is present inside of this head, and it is still functioning on a cellular level.
Good.
It is weakened, but it is not dead.
Try to get it out and try to do as many tests as you possibly can.
Yes, I will do that.
We need to collect as much information as possible.
I will see how it is. Now, since I can actually dissect this head, I can see exactly how it's physically interacting with the brain cells. Esteban out. So I carefully take a laser scalpel and start dissecting the skull, and I take the top of it out and start making physical recording what is actually going on. Not just scans, but I'm actually recording with a video recorder, or not with a video, but whatever technology they have is similar, recording exactly how the tendrils from the tumor is interacting with the brain cells, how they've wrapped around the cerebral cortex, and how there's not much of his spine left, but you can still see how it's exactly attached to the base of his skull. And he starts trying to remove it physically from the head, so that he can trying to preserve as much of it as he can.
Okay, one strange effect of all of his maneuvering and moving around with his flesh, whenever he cuts into it or moves it in any way, he feels this tingling in the back of his neck.
I still proceed.
Yeah, there's no other side effects other than that.
As Theo picks up one of the objects, just for some reason, he just begins to pick it up and he pushes the scanner out of the way. And he just stares at it intently, and he ends up activating his Kaizen power of Surface is Illusion. And it'll allow him to see through the objects and to be able to look inside of it.
Sort of the longer rod thing looks like it is maybe a scanning device. It seems like there's various low-intensity lasers, perhaps to cut flesh. I really don't remember the third device. I really should. I believe it was a disc of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of that, it seems like it can emanate heat or cold. It seems to be what you're getting from looking at the internals.
Huh. Well, with that, he focuses his attention on the spherical-looking one that he was scanning before.
Yeah, inside you'll see flesh. It seems almost brain-like.
And he'll grab the other items, and then he'll start rushing back down to the med bay.
He probably encounters Bryce on the way. Theo, are those the devices?
Yep.
I may have some insight as to what at least one of them does. That rod thing?
Yeah.
It's capable of splitting apart, and it's some kind of dissection tool. But it's gentle and incredibly forceful at the same time. I don't know how to describe it.
I'll describe it as payback, because I'll use these on one of the bastards.
That elicits a very strange smirk that you've never seen on Bryce before.
He'll cock his head slightly at that. He'll hold up the spear to you and he'll say, "This has some sort of, if I were to describe it in any way, almost a brain-like structure to it."
Does Bryce have a sense that it's a thinking brain-like structure?
What do you think? I'll let you describe it. Maybe you're sensing it now.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't sensing it before it was activated, because his head count was 10. But, yeah, perhaps he's picking up on that. It's definitely something like that. There's something in there thinking, Theo.
Good. Let's get it to talk to us.
Let's. He uses past thoughts.
And then he'll just, he'll rush on down to the med bay.
Okay. So you start using this on it.
That's, at this point, 9 days worth of memory.
All right. You'll see that it was used to help operate, to numb areas, that it controls all of the foreign tissue pieces that are in your necks, and it seems to be linked to them. You'll see, and it doesn't really have eyes, so memories from it are kind of strange. A lot of its memories are text-based, almost, or telepathy-based.
So those symbols that I'd seen before.
Yeah. So thought symbols and patterns. You'll see that there were lots of operations over the course of that 2-day period. I think that's how long it was.
Bryce actually has alien thoughts as a passive ability. So he may be able to read those at this point.
Okay. A lot of the orders are to, as part of operations and surgery, numb this area. And then there's orders to move patients. And you get the sense that this thing can control your movements. It can literally have you stand up, walk over to another table or bench, and lay down.
That's terrifying.
Is there anything else this thing does? It can numb you, it can knock you out, it can keep you unconscious, and it can kill you. You see that it was used to kill several patients. And they aren't listed by name, they're just listed by number.
Okay. Well, I guess in these... he's going to try and pull as much information as he can from this, and ultimately try and figure out whether just destroying this will be safe.
You get the feeling that if you destroy this, you'll kill everyone that has that foreign tissue substance in their necks.
Lovely. I guess Bryce starts heading back to the medbay with it.
Yeah, there's definitely a linkage. You're linked to it.
Oh, can he tell how many people are linked to it currently?
Oh boy, I have to go look at my numbers. All of the clones that were made, it seems like it is in some way linked to that many.
On this ship and others?
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
So, yeah, I'll have to do some calculations here for that.
All right. Well, that gives me an idea anyway. Bryce is handling it very gingerly. Where did Theo run off to again?
I was heading down to the med bay.
Oh, okay.
I had the
Same way
object.
then.
Yeah, I had the objects with me. I thought he was walking beside me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Theo, this is some kind of central control unit. It's linked in with all of us. If we destroy it, it's going to cause serious problems, at least in our current state.
It is linked currently to 36 patients. It was linked to 38 patients originally. 2 of them were ordered to be destroyed.
It's linked to 36 of us.
36 of us?
36.
What? Even now?
Yeah. I mean, it's... Wait a second. Right now, Bryce is trying to figure out if there's any way that he can route. Alright, here's a question. Does sensory activity get filtered back to this device?
What do you think? I'll let you answer that.
I would think that a degree of it would have to be for things like collision detection as it's moving.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
I don't know how clear any sensory input would be, but if there is any there, I think that he'll use deep thoughts would probably work to see if he can look through the eyes of some of the victims on the she vessel, if it's still connected to them.
It seems to be, yes. So you're sort of focusing on different patients using your telepathy, and this thing seems like it's designed to be used that way. It's designed to be accessed through telepathy. You see through a patient's eyes. You try to move the head. This is past thoughts, honestly. This is just recorded information.
This is going to be deep thoughts, because he's I mean, he used the past thoughts before, but I don't think he felt that he would be able to kind of get information quite that detailed. I mean, we're looking at a really broad spectrum of different minds attached to this thing, so.
The weirdest ones that you can get now are the ones that are in utero.
Ugh.
You're inside of Annelle's womb for 8 of the patients. Those are probably the strangest ones, the most alien.
Are there any that give me a sense of the inside of their ship, though?
You see this honeycomb structure that seems to have been grown to hold and encase the various patients. You see various headless Annelles whose bodies are still alive, the wombs inside, the infants inside are still growing, the embryos. You see various versions of the crew. You see a Theo, you see Kazuko's, you see some Yins, and they seem like they all are in process of being operated on, kind of like how Sally was left with her arm detached and it wasn't bleeding. That's how you see a lot of these different patients. They are in the process of being dissected and examined, and they are alive in the process. They don't seem like they're in pain, however. And so as you look around through various viewpoints and positions of point of view, it's just like this sort of cylindrical, honeycombed structure of like dark brown.
All right, that's he just the look in his eyes right now is as though he's been gazing across something so vast and obscene. I can see inside their ship, Theo.
He immediately grabs you by the shoulders. You can?
Yeah, I can. It looks like everyone's alive.
You don't sound very sure about that.
They're alive, Theo. But they're being worked on.
You feel his hand kind of squeeze your shoulders a little bit, but then he kind of releases, and then his hands kind of clasp into a fist.
They've got. It's almost like a beehive the way they've stored everybody. It's this bizarre, twisting, grown honeycomb pattern. I guess that with the she being able to float, they don't have to have the same sort of logic to their areas as we do. But I'll mark down everything I do have, everything I've found, and I'll make a file for you on the computer. I don't want to look at it for much longer.
He'll put his hand on your shoulder. It's all right, Bryce. Thank you.
He just sort of sighs and sits down outside the med bay.
Do you still have Sense Thoughts on?
On Theo? No.
Okay.
No, I think he'll have left that off.
All right.
Although he actually, if it's a strong enough thought, it might be picked up through the orb.
It's a pretty strong thought. It's he's picturing what you just described to him, and then he's just picturing it all being blown up and picturing what he thinks they look like just completely torched.
Okay. That's understood.
Aisho.
Yes, Theo. What can I do for you?
I can't believe I didn't check this earlier. Do we still have the life pod on board?
No.
Oh,
It seems to have been launched.
Is it on scanners?
Checking. There are fragmentary images. It seems that they were attempted to be... Checking. I cannot answer that inquiry.
What can you answer?
Is there anything else I can do for you, Theo?
No, there's nothing else you can do for me, Aisho. Thank you.
It seems to be missing. It was launched.
Missing?
It was launched. Unable to answer.
All right, thank you. That's enough, Aisho.
Unable to answer.
It's okay, Aisho. That's all right. You don't have to answer anymore.
It was not launched.
Okay, thank you.
Checking.
No, you don't have to check anymore. It's all right. You can stop.
It was launched. Unsure. System seems corrupted. Shutting down.
Huh. Well, fuck, that's another thing I gotta fix. And with that, he'll kind of walk into the med bay with that loud thought he expresses, and gently puts down the spear. And there's a bit of a kind of a twisted glee and look he has in his eyes as he looks at it.
You immediately see Esteban with the head of Kazuko on one of the examination tables. His eyes wide open, Kazuko's, and his tongue lolling out. The top of his skull is taken off, and he looks like he has some sort of small utensil that he's pulling things out of his brain. Looks like small purple tendrils.
His expression now, Theo's expression now changes to a really sympathetic and sad look. He walks over slowly. Oh, fuck, man. Oh, Kazuko.
Ah, that was his name. I did not know him.
You'll see the eyes open up on the head, and they start looking around.
Come on,
that was not expected.
What the fuck is that? He starts moving his hand around to see if it follows.
It starts making the mouth gestures. It's forming, and it repeats this one word over and over again. And as you look at it, it seems to be mimicking Theo, but it doesn't have lungs or any way to make sound.
He tries to stop himself from gagging. He goes, oh, okay. He kind of grabs the side of his head and kind of looks at him and tries to make out what he's saying.
It starts to mimic other words. It's hard to make out at first.
Is there any sort of recognition software you might be able to use that could record his mouth and see what he's saying?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and tape it and see.
I go ahead and record everything that his mouth is mouthing.
Yeah, he seems to be repeating a sentence over and over again. It takes some time to. I don't know. Is that a K sound he's trying? What is that? Because there's absolutely no sound coming out of his mouth at all.
While that's happening, I start recording his brain activity, see if there's any at all, or if this is all stimulation that's coming from the tumor.
Yeah, it seems to be that the brain flesh is dead, but it's coming through the butterfly foreign tissue. It's sort of shocking the brain.
Interesting.
The sentence that he's saying is, "You have them on the run."
There's kind of a brief smile as he lets the head lower down and rest on the side. And then he'll kind of like take his hands and kind of push it over the eyes a little bit and close them. Then he'll kind of say out loud, "Thanks. That's more than enough motivation I'll need."
I continue just recording all activity through the tumor on the back of his head and continue trying to remove it.
It seems like the shocking has stopped, and the head is no longer responding to it.
Where's Pawn?
We'll say that she's just outside of the med bay looking in right now.
Bryce next to her is using two hands on one of the computer panels just by the med bay. With one, he is starting to sketch up a 3D model of what he saw inside the Chi vessel, and with the other, he's starting to scan through iShow to see what's going on with the system there.
Theo will walk out and he'll look towards Pawn and he'll say, "Well, it seems that you were wrong, little one. We have them on the run. Whatever plans that they did have for us didn't go according to plan."
Well, that's good. I'm glad to be wrong, Theo. I don't like being right.
That's understandable. And he'll kind of just like put his hand on her head and kind of ruffle her hair up a little bit.
I'm sorry, Alex. What did you say? I totally just blanked out on what you're trying to do.
Okay. Well, on one hand, just creating a 3D model of what he saw inside the she-ship.
Okay.
On the other hand, trying to figure out what's going on with Aisha.
Okay. Aisha seems to be getting... Whenever someone asks us a question and it goes to a certain place to answer that question, it seems to be having errors. It seems that there are certain portions of its makeup and program that have been altered, and it's causing problems.
Okay. I think that Bryce is probably going to abandon the 3D model for now and head back to his quarters just around the corner to use the computer screen in there and start getting to work on figuring that out while sitting on his bed.
Okay. Yeah, it seems that large portions of its memory have been erased, as well as some portions of its functionality.
Is there any recovery process you can think of that might at least determine when this happened and what was removed?
Yeah, you think that it's actually pretty simple to restore him. You just have to remove him and re-upload the original file.
I think what Bryce is more interested in right now is what alterations happened.
It seems that mostly the 2-day period has been completely wiped.
Okay,
Yeah.
but nothing more complicated than that?
It seems like there is a backdoor set up so that the she can once again take control.
Okay, he flushes the AI immediately.
Okay. Aisha goes down the drain.
Yep. And he'll just head back to the med bay, I guess. So, what's our status?
Our status is that we have those bastards on the run. Kazuko just told us.
That's a damn good thing. Wait, Kazuko?
He points towards the head. He must have been receiving some sort of signal from the organic device here, and we managed to make out what he was trying to say, but his words were, "We have them on the run."
Good.
Bryce?
Yeah?
Can you go over Kazuko's research on the signaling and the Quay vessel signals? Focus specifically on the hills that we use for them and pick up on that signaling and see if we can mimic that.
Sorry, which hails?
Well, any of them, really. I just want to be able to signal other Quay vessels.
Quay vessels. Sorry,
That's
I
right.
thought you'd said she for a moment.
No.
Yeah, that should be doable.
Now, are you going... We'll need to be able to make some sort of device so we can broadcast it on a very far, very fast range.
You're going to set an ambush for them?
I'm going to do more than set an ambush for them. When I get all of them out of there, I'm going to have them running for their lives every second of the day.
Yeah, that should do it. Okay. I'll start trying to figure that out. I mean, I can help you with the signal range extension, but that's largely an engineering thing. I certainly know sensors, though, so I'll be able to give you advice as to what frequencies will be easiest for the Quay to pick up.
Good.
And also give us the broadest spread.
Good. We'll also need a very simple message. Something like, here be floaters, or something.
Yeah, I think that's going to be easy enough to string together. Thank you. I mean, just thank you for having a plan.
Theo, may I examine the living tissue inside of that device that you have there?
He looks up back at you and, I don't know about that. This is linked to all of us.
I don't intend on probing it, I just want to do some surface scans.
Go ahead and do some surface scans, but don't probe it or don't touch anything else on it. This thing is connected to all of us, and it's also connected to everyone else that they captured.
If it dies, we die.
I won't kill it.
It's also
very gentle.
Partly alive.
That is the reason why I wish to examine it. Perhaps it might be influenced in a way so as to disconnect itself from the tumors that are attached to it. If that could happen, perhaps they might die and we could remove them on their own.
I'm tempted to say that the safer option would be to remove the tumors without disconnecting them from the orb. With them connected, it seems like we might be codependent.
Esteban.
Yes?
Try to see if you can run every type of scan that you can find on it and see if you can pick up any signals that it can create.
Signals? What type of signals?
I don't know. Anything that could pick up signals that we're not able to detect. They're able to communicate with it somehow.
Such as telepathy of some sort, maybe.
Such as that.
He kind of hesitantly says, yeah. That's... If we can detect their telepathy, we could maybe learn a way to block out the signals as well.
That is an interesting hypothesis.
And
so he takes the... Oh, I'm sorry.
And then goes, and then the next time, they won't be able to try to get in our heads again.
That is a good plan. Let me begin. And he takes it over to the examination table and just starts trying to record any brainwave activity, any type of wave activity to denote that it has any sort of telepathic contact.
Maybe with brainwaves, I don't know. That's interesting. If you scan the device for brainwaves, you get 36 brainwave patterns overlapping.
Not a separate individual identity, though?
No, it seems like they're all in... It's almost like the brain is... It has a record of all of the brain patterns, or it is all the brain patterns at once.
It seems to have a record of all the brain wave activities of everyone who's attached to it.
But what about brain activity? Okay, go on.
I'm not getting any specific brain activity of its own, though, like it has its own identity.
What about any foreign brain activity, things that we wouldn't identify as per se as human?
I am still running the frequency gamut to see what it detects that we are capable of detecting. As soon as I am able to find something, I will let you know.
All right, I'll be up in the machine bay. I'm going to be creating a few things.
Esteban just goes back to examining the brainwave activity.
Pon, would you mind helping out Esteban with that?
I don't really have any medical expertise, though. Do I just hold things?
Oh, well, in that case...
Whatever you want. I don't really have a position on the crew yet.
Dale begins kind of like rubbing his head. Here, how about you help me up in the machine shop?
Are you the new captain?
What?
Are you the new captain?
I don't really like that title very much.
You seem to be more like a captain.
Let's just say I'm temporary, and for now, until Longveer comes back too.
Okay.
Then he'll head up right to the machine shop with her in tow.
What are we going to make?
We're going to be trying to mimic the outer shell of the Quay vessel. We're going to be making projectiles.
Sounds fun.
I'm going to base them off the shape of their ship. They seem to have a penchant for ramming things and appears to be effective. So I figure if we can make something smaller that they can't necessarily detect, we can eject it onto the side of their ship, kind of like a bee stinger. And that stinger is going to emit a signal, and that signal is going to attract every quay within its signaling range. Even if they can't be detected, they can still detect the signal, revealing their position. Then they'll be harassed every step of the way.
Won't the Quay just destroy it? And with our friends with it.
I'm planning on getting the friends out, then putting that on there.
That's good.
And I'm also going to make future ones so that we can deal with them every other time. And when the machine shop, Thea will pick up a little, it's like a black box with like a bow on it, a silver bow, and he'll kind of just, he'll kind of stare at it a little bit, and he'll put it off to the side, out of the way, and begin looking up certain data.
Okay, meanwhile, Bryce?
Bryce has just assembled a message that can be used in it. And then finally thinks to tell Theo, Theo, I had to take iShow offline. The Quay had installed a back door. I should be able to restore from a backup, but it'll take a moment.
What haven't they fucked up on this damn ship already? Damn it. Alright, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'll head up now. I've left the file with the message, open on your terminal.
Thank you.
And he works his way up to the really messy upper deck.
Alright, and Esteban?
I am still sitting in the examination room, examining the brainwave activity of the alien device, and then I go back to, while that's still, leave that on auto scan, I go back to the head of Kazuko and begin to remove the last of the implant that's on the back of the base of his skull, seeing exactly how it's interacting with his brain, with his spinal column, and what's left of it.
It seems like it still has a low amount of electric charge in it as you're removing it. But as you remove the last tendril, the last connection, it seems that charge dissipates.
I'll immediately take it over to one of the examination bays and start scanning it, see if it still has any living activity in it.
It seems to be completely lifeless. Also, you'll notice on the brainwave patterns, there's now 35.
Curious, curious, curious. Seems to be codependent. Esteban to Theo and Bryce.
Yes, that's fine.
I have removed the implant from the back of your comrade's head. I believe you said his name was Kazuko. And it seems to, the moment that I removed it, I completely removed it, it seemed to die. So I think that there is a codependence built into it.
The implant seemed to die, or the... Well...
The implant died, and also the brainwave activity changed inside of the device. There was one fewer brainwaves.
That makes sense. How cleanly were you able to remove it?
I mean, seeing that I was not overly concerned with damaging the subject, I removed it as best as I could.
Right. There's a tool that they left, the rod-like one. It might be useful. It seems to sort of pull structures apart rather than cutting them. Experiment with it on some of the dead matter and see what can happen.
I am reticent to experiment with it. I do not know how to use it. Seeing the reaction that we all had to this other device, I do not know what to expect from this.
Well, the other device wasn't experimented with. It just happened, right?
Yes, it did, but who knows what might happen with this one.
That's true.
Perhaps if Theo is able to ascertain exactly how it functions, or at least get some semi-clear understanding of how it functions, then we might be able to proceed. It might be a good way of separating if, as you say, separate flesh from flesh, it might be able to separate the she flesh from ours.
With that, Theo will look at he'll come back to the comms. Yeah, I'll be right down there in a little bit. And he'll look over towards Pond. Can you finish studying the meteorological data on this? Try to come up with a composite that matches the clay vessel signature.
Sure thing, Theo. I'll get right on that.
And he'll leave her alone in the machine shop, and then he'll just head back down to the medical bay.
After all the comms close and he's standing there alone, he hears a voice and he says, Esteban, I am Esteban. Why are you so afraid to tell them that you failed? Why are you so afraid to tell them that you are the cause of their pain? Go away! Who are you? You're just a delusion. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. I'm ignoring you. You wish I was a delusion. You wish. I, Esteban Loesa Angelico Garcia Fortuna, I will survive, and you will be deatomized, and you will be gone. He starts smacking his forehead and just slams his fist on the examination table.
Okay. We'll say that Bryce has taken down the old ice show and is around probably 50% complete with uploading the new one.
Wonderful. As he does that, he'll probably also send some information on wavelengths that might be useful down to the terminal by the machine shop. Wavelengths that will be useful for communicating with the clay.
Okay. It's a broad band of various frequencies.
Yep. And just ideas as to how to amplify it.
All right, back in the medbay. As Theo arrives.
All right. Where's the device at?
It is right there. You see Esteban standing there. He has his arms folded. He actually looks very calm and somewhat amused.
gives you a slight nod, and then picks up the device. He'll then use his Kism power to surface his illusion again, and he'll start looking at the insides of it and see any kind of mechanisms that might make it function and work.
There's lots of wires and electrodes plugged into the brain itself, but it really doesn't seem like it's that technological. It's mostly, it seems like the brain sort of runs things.
The rod?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're looking. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I was about to say that thing's got a brain.
Yeah. It looks like it's mainly just almost like their version of a bioscanner, and it also seems to flay and tear flesh with like lasers and force somehow. Not real sure.
Does it look like there's any like physical activation to it?
It seems just look like there's not a lot of buttons on it really. There's just like a handheld section, like a handle, which makes you think that maybe telepathy is the way to operate it.
I don't see any devices on the that might make it activate physically. It might operate the same way the sphere does.
Ah. If we only knew exactly how the sphere works, then that might be of help.
Keeping on scratching his head. Oh. I have no idea how to make this thing work. Maybe if we had some sort of device that mimicked the signals that they produce.
Yes, unfortunately, the only signals that I've been able to detect from the device are the brain waves. I haven't been able to determine whether or not it is able to send anything else.
No, don't worry. Just keep scanning. I'm sure something might come up. It might take a while. It might even be a very fine frequency that we might not even know of yet.
Yes, I have it scanning every possible frequency, and it's going through the gamut. I am oddly optimistic now. I am feeling that we are going to be successful.
Huh. I'm very optimistic as well.
Perhaps there is only one telepath on board that I know of. Perhaps if this telepath were to possibly try to interact with it. Bryce, perhaps?
Yeah, I'll call him down here, but I don't know. I don't want to stress too much. He's kind of been through a lot already.
We can always print out another version of them to test it.
Out of the question. I'm not going to start treating people like guinea pigs.
Well, I'm not talking about guinea pig but since he is emotionally distracted, perhaps a new version who hasn't had the trauma that he has suffered, perhaps he could be able to access the device more readily.
Would have the same trauma as he did when he was printed out initially.
Very well. It was only a suggestion.
He'll kind of shake his head, and then he'll head outside and contact Bryce through the comms. Bryce?
Yeah?
Could you head down to the med bay? We'll probably need you again for this. Actually, we will need you again for this.
Yeah, sure. I'm just checking. Yeah, iShow's pretty much done. I'm heading down now.
Thank you.
And he's there. Pretty much. You hear like a slide down the Faraday tube or something. Not the Faraday tube, the Jeffries tube.
He has his back. He has his back when you do that. He just turns around real quick. Oh. Oh, damn, that was quick.
Well, you said you needed me.
Alright, he hands you the rod. I think this activates the same way the spear does, with telepathy.
Right. Bryce steps slowly into the med bay and looks back at the sphere, and uses deep thoughts on it again. Except at this point, he's looking at through the perspectives of some of the people on the ship being dissected, except he's looking for thought patterns like the she tend to leave. He's looking for the symbols, and he's starting to decode them.
I won't even make you have to use it again. Just if you like, it's almost like if you just open up yourself, that information now comes readily to you.
Oh, wow.
Since you've used those powers with it before, it seems to have identified you as someone who it can interact with.
Interesting. So yeah, he's basically observing some of the vivisections rather, and seeing if the Shi are using similar tools there, and seeing if he can pick up on any of the commands they use.
Yeah, not a problem. They basically think whatever action they want it to do, and that's what, you see that thought symbol. Pull, tear, slice, peel. All kinds of disturbing medical terms, probably. Vivisection.
Okay. He turns to the head on the counter, and not even really seeing it as a head at this moment, raises this rod towards it and starts like peeling the flesh away, and it's as though the epidermis starts peeling off layer by thin layer, and it's like there's a pile of snakeskin at the bottom of it, and he's starting to sort of like detach the retinas and things, and basically practicing scouring this thing.
Yeah, it almost feels graceful. Like you probably even maybe find yourself like sort of moving your hand left and right with various actions and things, even though it's not necessary, but it just seems to come naturally to a human. But yeah, it's like parting, one layer from another is just very easy. It's almost disturbingly easy to tear a person bit by bit.
Flows off like he's making candy floss.
Yeah.
And then he just sort of, I guess, snaps out of his practice and looks at the other two. Yeah, I think I can manage.
Okay. Well, I guess that means we'll have to use a live subject.
Well, we do have 2 Sallys.
Theo looks at him and he just shakes his head. And no, I'll volunteer, and then he'll lay down on the medical bed, face down.
Are you sure, Theo?
Yep, perfectly sure.
I told you were more like a captain.
Esteban.
Wait, Pon's there?
You see, as she's snuck outside the door. I'm all done.
Oh, thank you, Pon. I've been recording everything that I've been doing, and so should anything awry happen, I can simply just review the data again.
If something bad happens to you, though, you're the only person that knows how to fix the ship. I don't think that's very
okay.
wise.
My clone can come back and do it.
Bryce looks at basically all of the vid windows nearby on the medbay and starts pulling up the scans from the bioscanner that were there earlier for Colt, so he has an idea. And actually, he'll go ahead and rescan for Theo, so he can compare and contrast, but also get really precise data on what's the foreign entity and what isn't. Esteban, if you could help me with this, I just want to make sure I get it all.
Yes, I would be delighted. I am very intrigued by this process.
No pressure, but please don't. I don't want to die again. So he'll say nervously as he kind of fidgets around on the table with his face down. He'll have his shirt off, and he'll just kind of be facing down. You won't be able to see his face, but there's a bit of a slight grimace.
I bring the examination arm over and bring it down over the back of his head, and I start magnifying it, tuning it in on a cellular level so that Bryce can see exactly how it's connected. See, this is the extent to which they have connected the device. I hope you're successful.
Bryce just kind of quietly nods as he swallows and prepares to kind of get lost in the conducting of the Flesh Orchestra.
Esteban, I rub my hands together and just look very excited.
Oh, thankfully, there's a solid deck score at work here. Yeah.
Do you wish to listen to some music while you operate? I have found that it is sometimes soothing.
Bryce is still hearing, like, heartbeats from whatever that effect is, occasionally. And one just sort of, he's just starting to pick up on the pulse of Theo in particular. And he just turns to Esteban and says, "No, I think I've got a pretty good rhythm.
Very good.
Already playing." And so he begins just kind of trying to extrude this foreign matter out of him.
You'll see the neck skin sort of part. It sort of rolls up to the sides. The bone and the nervous system are there, and you kind of glance to your left and see the scans. But as the music is playing, it's just all too easy to part the human flesh. However, when you get to the alien matter, it seems to give some resistance at first. You're almost like tugging with the rod, and it's quivering in places, but it doesn't want to come loose at first.
Does Bryce have in his memory from all of the thought patterns of the she that he's kind of absorbed something equivalent to "come with me"?
Yeah, there's probably some thought symbols where you think that they were literally communicating with the foreign tissue.
So he's basically going to give it the message to release.
Okay, and when that is said, it does. And out comes the foreign tissue butterfly-looking thing, and you'll see that it has little sharp edges that were gripping onto the vertebrae, and the tendrils come slithering out as well onto the table.
And am I still detecting a thought pattern from Theo?
Theo is still alive and well.
Oh, that's reassuring.
While this is happening, I'm monitoring the brainwave activities of all the brainwaves in the orb device.
You're now down to 34.
I think you are being successful there, Bryce.
Good. He, I guess, folds the skin back over.
Falls along with the tune and seems to reattach of its own volition with the tool.
Who's next?
It would be interesting to see how it affects one of these that is suffering from seizures.
Theo's on the table and he's like looking around. Are you done yet?
Yeah, it's all out, Theo.
Really? I don't feel a thing. I think it's rubbing the back of his neck.
I'll mark that as a sign of success.
He'll get up and he'll see the mask next to him. Yeah, take that, you little fucker.
Shall we try it on one of the Sallys now?
Yeah, sure.
I would be curious to see how it interacts with these tumors that are reacting, causing these seizures in these individuals. I think they are of paramount importance.
As soon as you say that, Bryce starts reaching out to them with, basically all of the seizure, I guess continually convulsing people in the room. Oh, it's so hard to keep track of how many of them are spasming.
Yeah.
He's going to reach out his mind to their individual tumors and at least throw in a symbol that means calm.
Okay. They will stop. They're quivering and shaking, but they seem unconscious.
Okay.
I start scanning the backs of their necks to see if anything has changed, see if the bruising pattern and then I start scanning inside to see if anything has changed on a chemical or biological level with the tumor.
You'll see that the foreign tissue isn't sending out electrical charges as frequently as they were before.
Whatever you did, it seems to be working. Perhaps now is an opportune time to remove one of these.
It's so bizarrely easy that Bryce has already moved over and started parting flesh on Sally's neck.
Yep. It's like cutting through butter with a hot knife. Except you're not actually touching the neck. You repeat the pattern, and it's not long before Sally is free. And another brainwave pattern is not registered on the one of the sheet devices.
Theo looks up to Bryce and he'll say, "Well, I mean, at this rate, why would we even bother having the doc around?"
Don't mistake what I'm doing with any particular expertise, Theo. It's just intuitive right now. For this, anyway.
I'm curious.
I was just joking, Theo says, and he'll just he'll collect the flesh sample and put it on a tray.
I'm curious, Bryce. Are you going to be able to operate on yourself?
I don't know. I'll certainly try. But I think I should try after I've finished everyone else.
Perhaps the captain should be next.
Bryce just kind of nods in assent and moves over and begins.
The dance continues, the swaying of Bryce's arms, and the human flesh parts, and the foreign tissue is removed.
And if there are no objections, he's just going to go around the room almost trance-like doing this.
Yeah, it's
I just eagerly watch him as he's going about doing this.
It isn't long before the Doc, 2 Sallys, and Longyear all have the tissue removed.
Pawn? Where are you, Pawn?
Oh, I'm right here. It's pretty impressive what you're doing. Am I next?
I need you to stay still and calm for this, okay?
You want me to lay down?
That's not necessary, but it might help.
Okay. She just sort of turns around and pulls her hair up so that you can see the back of her neck.
The flesh that's peeling back is just like almost as thin as her hair. And just delicately is getting every last bit.
After a couple minutes, she seems like she's done, and you seal her neck up as well. It really didn't hurt at all, did it? It's really strange. She, just like Thea, she rubs the back of her neck. Almost like in disbelief that anything actually happened to her.
Now, have we done Esteban yet?
Here, I will lay down on the examination table for you. And he lays down.
Bryce is kind of especially curious about Esteban. So, as he's working, he gets a little carried away and starts kind of just peels off the back of his head and starts just looking at the shape of his skull. And then he catches himself and puts it back and continues as he did with the others. Trying not to glance around nervously at Theo or Pon, so as to show them that anything's different.
And it's completely painless. Esteban might realize that more is being done, but there's no real sensation, so it would be really hard to tell, I think. And same thing, after a couple minutes, it's over.
I guess it's my turn now.
Yes. Yes, it is.
How are you going to do that to yourself? A mirror?
Theo will take like a monitor device and put it underneath of the table where his face would be facing, and then have it facing him, and have the camera pointed on his back so he can see himself.
Thank you, Theo. That's a very clear image. I think I've got this.
Remember, it's backwards what you're seeing. Oh, you're not looking in a mirror. You're looking in a viewing screen.
Are you sure you want that in higher definition? Because I can increase the resolution if you want.
Whatever you think, Theo.
Put it on ultra resolution, and so everything's like really detailed. It's like you're looking at through your own eyes.
Okay, that's just beautiful to Bryce. So he even just seeing that starts getting into trying to figure out these motions behind his head, bending his wrists while issuing thought commands.
While he's doing that, I bring the swing arm over and start recording it.
Okay. It takes probably about 3 or 4 minutes since you're doing it on yourself. Yeah, probably.
Do I experience anything strange doing it on myself? Or is it the same sort of painlessness?
It's completely painless. It's odd to see inside of your structure, your body. Not
for a second.
Sensation, really.
for a second it brings that thought back of seeing his his other clone body. Oh, I guess that might have been his original, flayed open and hovering. But he just tries to push that out of his mind and keep going.
Okay. Seems like just as you seal up the neck, you're all done. You have another vision, flashback of the missing time. So what does Bryce see?
Bryce he sees the inside of the tent again, except now he's very cognizant of the fact that he's still kind of covered in that amniotic slime, and he's just been replaced in there. And he's just sensing these thought forms and symbols, but they're loud. It's like someone's bolded all of them, or they're flashing in this strange, like, epilepsy-inducing fit. It's just he can sense the just this raw panic. Some of the symbols that would normally form words that he could discern with his alien thoughts power are just like broken and jagged in places, like they're half-finished words, and you can hear the distant rattle of one of Ginu's weapons in the far background. And then there's a pulse or two of power throughout the ship, and he can see the lights in the med bay going on and off, and it almost mirrors that sensation of when you're really tired and your eyes are starting to open and close, and they close again for him. And that's that.
All right. Who feels like going next, Tim or Phil for the next vision, next flashback?
Okay. For Phil's flashback, he finds himself again with the hand compressing on his face with the slightly shadowed expression of what he can make out as a head, but it has 3 black eyes staring right back at him, spears almost, and everything is blurry. The vision around his eyes is becoming blurry, and as he feels the pressure, he has his left hand, his hand clasped in a fist, and he mutters out the word, "Fuck you!" and he hits it, and what he can only assume is its face, and he sees it reel back a little bit and throw him down onto the ground. He can feel the force of it as his body rolls. And at that point, he just keeps shouting the word, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you!" And then he unleashes flames right from his hands and lights up the entire, what is the darkened black and red hallway with fire and flame before he fades back out.
All right, and then Tim?
Esteban remembers falling out of the 3D printer, covered in fluid, and shivering and shaking, and he opens his eyes and he looks and he sees himself pinned up onto the wall, floating in midair. Well, not floating, but like he's pinned on the wall, floating, except his legs and his eyes have been removed. He's assuming this was the original him because he had cybernetic legs and eyes, and it looks like there was connections where they were built in that are still connected to the body, but there are tubes connected to his torso coming out that have fluid flowing into him, and just as he looks up, his head is on his body is disconnected and starts floating off of his body and goes into some sort of container. Then he stumbles away and pushes himself and lands up against the wall, and he sees one of the Sallys on the operating table with her arms off on one of the trays, and he stumbles and he falls into it and grabs the arms, and blood gets all over his hands, and he throws it away, and that's the last of his memories.
And one final thing that you guys get is there's these images of them leaving quickly, almost like they were interrupted. They just float out the hallways, float away from you, float away from whatever point of view that you have, and you see them dematerialize, sort of wherever they are, and they vanish. And then you're back to where you were.
Was there any sensation like before? Were we floating or?
It doesn't seem to be any this time.
Thale will step out of the room, and he'll look to everyone. I'll be right back.
Very well. I understand.
Yeah, Bryce nods understandingly too.
He makes his way into the hallway where he thinks he was, and when he arrives there, he sees that it's all scorched black. And he sees a spot, kind of the faint outline of a figure laying down a little bit that is not scorched. Then he just kind of runs his fingers along with the soot left behind. And then afterwards he'll walk casually on back.
I think something must have happened that made them leave. I think maybe chompers attacked them.
Judging by the debris field, it seems pretty probable.
I was looking at that earlier too, and I think the weapons that we had prepared must have been launched. I think it must have had some effect. That's probably what some of the debris field was. Maybe it just didn't destroy them like we thought it would. Maybe it damaged their ship.
Well, don't worry, Pawn, as Veal walks in. We'll make sure to correct that mistake next time.
Bryce, I just wanted to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for the masterful work that you did.
You're very welcome.
If there is anything that I, Esteban Loesa Angelico Garcia Fortuna, can do to help you in the future, please do not hesitate. I swear I will do anything I can to help you. At that, he turns and walks out the room.
Bryce just sort of puzzles at him for a moment as he's walking away. And as he often is, he's tempted to just reach in and figure out what he's thinking, but he doesn't.
Crew, this is Aisho. Message coming in. Pre-recorded. Should I play it on the monitor? Monitors?
Yeah, go ahead. He'll rush up to the monitor.
It's sort of staticky and lines are coming through it, but it seems to be coming from chompers. He's saying something over and over again in Kwe. And it translates as gut the floaters, I have them. And the message screen seems to show the view of chompers looking out of his the front of his vessel. And it seems like he's in sort of like a ramming action, and you see him crash into the side of the sheep vessel. And then the message ends.
Well, I guess with that, Bryce is sprinting towards the cockpit. Someone should be there.
That is what was in the message.
How long ago was that sent?
Only a few minutes ago. There are also coordinates.
All right, let's head there.
Coordinates are displayed in the cockpit whenever you get there, Bryce.
I'm on it.
And Theo heads right up to the cockpit as well.
You'll see that long-range scans show that there is what looks like one vessel, but it's far away. You're guessing that the Quay vessel slammed into the side of the She vessel is appearing as one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I guess we're laying a course and hitting the engines pretty hard.
Pawn, please stay here in the medical bay and watch after them. In case they wake up, let us know.
Okay. I can do that. They look so peaceful. I'm glad they're not moving anymore.
They should feel just fine when they wake up.
I hope so.
And with that, Theo bolts off.
And that's probably a good place to break for today.
That would make sense.
So you have a location, the chompers just slammed into them. And you remove the foreign tissue from your necks. So, with alien technology.
In disturbingly easy fashion.
Yeah. Oh, it would be so simple for Bryce to get carried away.
I want to use that on the Quay.
The Quay or the She? Or both. Yes.
I mean, not the Quay, the She. Oops, yeah, the She.
Just hope that they don't have some override that if it comes near them, they can take control of it.
Well, I mean, if it's only just accepting thought commands, you'd have to find a way to, I guess, lock them out. Which might be possible.
Well, I know this for a fact. It's just going to be round 2.
Yeah, coming right up.
Yep.
Hopefully it's not another round of clones.
And you charge the vessel and back on the ship. It starts cranking out some more clones.
Yeah, that would not be great.
We all wind up in the same place we were again. It's like, damn it, no!
Except for Esteban, who deleted his file.
Uh-oh.
I think my other me is going to be waiting for time to upload himself.
So, let's see here. How about we start with Phil today? Any thoughts about today?
I absolutely loved it. That was a really nice, solid teamwork. I think it was a good crew bonding experience too between the 3, the 4 actually, including Pon. I especially enjoyed the scene when Bryce ran out on the hull to because of his claustrophobia in a way. I was trying to think about if he would pick up that it's claustrophobia or not, but I don't think he would have picked up on that.
Just Bryce going nuts.
Yeah. It's just this Bryce going nuts again.
Another day aboard ship. Another insanity case.
Yeah.
Bryce is having behaviors again.
He's just acting out.
That got me when Pon was going to join him. I was like, what the... No!
She's like holding his hand, like, let's just go float out into oblivion together. That sounds fun.
Dual suicide there. It's like, oh man, I ain't gonna have that happen. Ain't nobody got time for that.
That would be another, and then there were two situation.
Then we got new clones being printed out. It's like, what happened?
Nothing.
Kind of floated off into space together. Your corpses are still back there, and I have to print out new damn e-suits. You owe me e-suits.
Except my next clone would be paranoid and think you were lying, and you'd kill them off.
I have to show you all the footage over and over again. Look, that's you. That's you disconnecting yourself, and that's you and Pawn floating off.
You must have had a lot of time for special effects, Theo. Very convincing.
You must have space photoshopped that.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right, Bryce. I used Adobe 4.7.506. You're right. That's the good stuff, too. That was hacked right from Earth itself. So, I mean, it's the latest model from Adobe.
Aha, I knew it. You're an Earther spy as well. You've been working with Esteban this whole time.
That's right. That's right. You figured me out. We were in league with the She the entire time.
How about you, Tim? Any thoughts? Any scene that jumped out at you?
Oh, Splendifulous. I am wondering how the Sallys are going to react to finding out about all of their time that they've forgotten.
Yeah, it's gonna have some. Well, I was trying to think, like, I guess they could still have flashbacks. They were sort of induced by the foreign flesh, though. So.
Well, not the last one.
The last one wasn't, though. Yeah, the last one was just straight up.
They might still have some connection to the orb brain.
Perhaps.
On some telepathic level.
I never know. Last-ditch effort.
There has to be some reason to keep giving people seizures.
Well, you guys kind of got rid of that, so that's all right.
Well, there could be still some telepathic link that you don't know of that just causes seizures.
Oh, I'm sure Tim can figure out much more malevolent possibilities.
I'm guessing you guys didn't expect Kazuka's head to start trying to talk. That's probably something different.
Oh, I had flashbacks of the Thing, where like the Thing sprouted like legs and stuff.
Yeah, so did I.
I was like, oh, please don't do this. Don't do this. Don't have it crawl around. I don't want to have like a Kazuko head going.
Tendrils come out and start swirling around like an octopus on land.
It's like, oh no, we've already dealt with cyber tumors and all this. No. He'd end up probably like smashing it. Just die. Just stop it.
Floating out into space isn't looking so bad now.
The whole crew goes floating away.
Alright, fine, we're free.
Had enough. That's it. Okay, on 3, pop your helmets off.
We watch the ship explode because we set it on auto destruct behind us.
Game over, man. Game over.
You guys have like an 80s freeze frame, like with like 1 second left on the clock, and you're all high-fiving each other before the ship blows up. Yeah.
Yeah, have a float away where explosion behind us as we're just floating away from it.
And then it fades back to the old guy clones. We're like, remember that time we did that suicide pact?
Yeah.
That was pretty messed up.
Good time.
What a day.
And we wake up on board the She ship because they replicated the 3D printer and we're printing out of there.
That would be an awesome thing to have happen. I should note that down.
And stop getting imagining.
Huh, they just died. Why isn't our 3D printer working? I don't know. No.
It never ends.
And Alex, any thoughts? Anything that jumped out at you today?
Oh man, the flashbacks were fun. I don't know. It was sort of nice sometimes having the smaller crew on occasion. Well, I mean, even putting aside the fact that it was like having Tavis, Sergei, and Luther. Well, okay, not quite the same, but
except flesh peeling and.
Yeah, well, I mean the same level of gruesome.
Yeah.
Well, probably more. I think. No, I mean they're incomparables, really. Mother's milk and the thing.
I was thinking of having a flashback where I had my own arms growing out of my side. Another pair of arms.
I was thinking about how messed up and casual it is that we have the body that we were taking it down to the med bay, and there's the dead Longveer clone just right there cut in half. I'm like, oh my gosh. and I kept imagining there's elevator ganja music playing. So it's like da 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 da.
It's a dead Longveer. Dead Longveer on the floor.
Well, I mean, we gotta keep moving. And the cockpit we just left was as messy, really. So.
Yeah. But there was no corpse in it this time and broken Faraday cage.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
And they're like...
I would say at least Bryce is toting around his feces-covered rifle.
Yeah. I think he might have wiped it off on something, but I don't know, maybe there's some sort of intimidation factor. No, probably not.
Throughout the whole of the week, I was thinking about what Theo was going to do against the She, and I was at work thinking, mulling this over, going, man, how am I going to get back to these bastards for doing what they did? And I said, oh, I got it. I'm not even going to bother fighting. I'm going to let the Quay do all the damn work. So I thought,
it's a good idea.
So I thought about using the signals on him. It was like, I'm going to hunt down every single one of their damn ships. I'm just going to throw a dart and run. And then, just watch Quay just, kind of swarm in on him.
The trickiest part is going to be extracting the crew.
Yeah, that's going to be really tricky. And speaking of that, the inside of the ship, it reminds me of the scene from Fire in the Sky, where that dude gets abducted.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like you said, it was all brown, and I kept imagining that dude was in, that sack the whole time, screaming and stuff.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
Yeah, because that whole area is brown and honeycomb-like. Because that's what I kept envisioning. I was like, oh, it's... ew.
What movie was this?
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Alien abduction movie.
Yeah.
It's based on true life accounts, I think.
Oh, when was this made?
80s, 90s? I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's pretty old. But yeah, I just pictured each body being in one of the honeycombs. All the way around it's ovalish, spherish room.
Oh, they're probably all in the Matrix having a great time.
And the idea for the headless Anels actually came from one of the Dune prequels. The Talaxu, I think it's one of the races that's been bioengineered. They engineered themselves, but they're referred to as tanks in the Dune trilogy. You never really get to see what the heck that is, what that means, but a tank is this female body with all the limbs removed, and they use the womb to produce things. It's pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
Fire in the Sky. I remember this movie. I did see it. Yeah, that was pretty disturbing. The abduction scene.
I will have to look it up.
It's been a while since I saw that one.
I don't know how we're going to save all those Anels, because if they're all chopped up like that, it's going to be pretty messed up. I hope the original is still whole and intact.
Well, yeah, hopefully there's at least one. I mean, it's possible that Bryce could figure out a way to reattach the head, but it might... I don't know if the angle would be quite right, or...
They might not all be functional, because the Kazuko head, it was still registering, but it was completely dead.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really tough. I'll tell you that much.
You have to collect up all the parts. Well, here's here's 3 Theo arms, and
put them all in the same one.
You got 2 long rear legs and a torso, and
now, if we were on friendly terms with the She, eventually we'd just be able to mail order and get replacements.
Wait, whose genitals do these belong to? Nope, that's not mine.
Oh, wait a minute. I have somebody else's stuff. What the heck?
Oh, no. I don't feel right down here.
Have multiple sets.
I don't even... That's not even the right gender. Ugh.
Both genders.
You replaced my knee with a what?
Man, I guess Quake chitin is more useful than hair.
Oh, I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of therapy for that crew.
Well, that's why I have these what do you call them at the end? I'm so bad with RPG terminology. There's a term for like talking after a session. I can't think of what it's called.
Like a debriefing?
Debriefing, that's the term. Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
There's supposed to be something at the beginning too. I can't think what that's called. We kind of do that through chat.
A recap or
pre-briefing?
There's another term for it that like the I want to say like Nordic LARPers use, but I can't think what it's called. But yeah, whatever.
I don't even know.
A lot of story games use those kind of terms too. I only dabble with those kind of games, so I don't really know those terms very well. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, debriefing was the one I was thinking of, where you guys kind of come down from the session to like get back to real life, you know. De-immerse yourself, you know.
So that we all slowly pull out of it and remain psychologically intact.
Yeah, that's what have we learned about Tim?
That's very considerate of you, Tim.
What have we learned about Tim's psyche? You know, that sort of stuff.
Oh, I was referring to the characters.
Oh, characters. No, they're psychologically blunt a bit.
I'm trying to heal all the damage I've done to your brains. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. You know.
There's no recovery for them.
Oh.
Well, guys, it was fun to play with you guys today. Hopefully, we'll get more people. I'm kind of thinking. I talked to John briefly on Facebook. He said that he's just really busy. He'd love to play. He loves the way we do play. He loves the whole like throwing the narrative control thing around, but he's not sure what the future will hold. So we'll see. And I think that
is this Bubba John or Skankin' John?
Skankin' Spitz John. Was just real busy, and yeah, I thought that original John was going to jump back in, but I guess he just got busy too with the whole moving thing and landlords and all kinds of stuff showing up.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get everybody together on next Saturday.
I don't think we've had all 6 players in the session yet. Just we got the new players.
It's like 5 for me.
It's like a recurring theme.
Yeah, I think we got 5 people at one time. That's the highest.
Yeah, well,
more
seizures.
We've certainly had it higher. I mean, towards the beginning, but with this current group, yeah, probably 5.
Yeah, I think we did have 6 a few times at the beginning of the campaign.
Yeah.
But we've actually, we said we were going to do 20 sessions, and we actually got past 20 sessions. I think this is 22, so yay us.
Yep.
We fulfilled our obligation, and now this is all just bonus. Which is hilarious, because we never did investigate the rift. That just didn't, like, it's so funny how, like, you know, they're like, yeah, we'll probably investigate the rift or the planet. Nah.
Well, I mean, the rift is a white hole. We can't do that much about it. But the planet, yeah, we could probably check out.
About that, yeah.
I mean, all the stuff we've been through, we've been attacked by the Quay, we've been harassed by the She, all this stuff.
I guess
it's like,
you, right?
What?
They came to you instead of you going to them, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, and sorry, the known solar system is kind of what we're all connected to as characters. So it makes sense that we'd be hanging around trying to figure out what's going on with it, especially when, you know, all out war with several new alien races is.
Plus Ganjan getting bombarded.
Yeah, I guess that actually hasn't happened. Oh, maybe it has. Maybe I'll mention it at the beginning of the next session. I wanted to throw that in here, but I totally blanked on that. I guess I just got wrapped up in what was happening.
Well, we probably weren't getting too much as far as the feeds were going. The AI was freaking out, and then Bryce dumped it, and we rebooted it, so we probably missed a lot of the feeds.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, let me think here. Is there anything I guess, well, since we're over 20 sessions, it's mainly for Alex and Phil to came in late. But did you think, have we done a lot of the things that you would have expected us to do in the campaign so far?
No, which is great. I mean, it's beautiful because of how unexpected it is. I thought we were going to Sayal. We didn't go to Sayal. I thought we would spend more time checking out the Rift. We didn't. But we've experienced really awesome gripping stuff. So it's probably better than I had thought.
Oh, that's good. That's cool to hear.
Yeah, none of it went according to plan, and it's like on day one, like within the first 2 days of our ship mission, we went through so much stuff, and I was like, holy crap. I mean, we've had stories built on top of stories. We've had basically tons of subplots because there's still, like, we don't know this yet, but there's still Jylan Wraith and stuff. We still got him lurking out there in the background. We still got all of our characters' backstories and stuff, and those little hidden plot points. We still got new plot points that are being created and stuff. New characters on the ship, like with Pawn and stuff, because now she's got now she's kind of rediscovering humanity and stuff. All these new things, and we got new enemies and stuff. It's just fantastic.
Endless exploration.
Yeah, it seems like I was sort of just going over like the plot ideas I sort of had written down, and like I think you guys said I was throwing too many at you, so I've been trying to slow down. I guess I still throw a lot at you guys, but there's a long list still. So yeah, it hasn't been hard to bring and interject new things into the campaign. I kind of like that we focused on the She for a little while, and now or focused on the Quay for a while, and now we're focusing on She stuff. So. It's kind of neat to have that part of the campaign too, because I kind of felt like, oh, are the She ever going to make an appearance in the campaign? Yeah, they have, so that's good. I'm glad that they got in there.
They made their appearance in the creepiest way possible.
Yep, very gradually.
She plus GM Fiat equals creepy. Yeah.
GM Fiat usually does it alone. Throwing the She.
What? 2 days? We don't remember what the hell happened. Oh, that's messed up. Well, yeah, that works. So
that's GM Fiat.
Well, I didn't give you guys a role or anything. I just said, yep, you're screwed.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Right.
Well, that's sort of like just the GM just says something, and I try not to use it really, but I thought, the She are kind of bastards, so I'm totally gonna use that. So.
Well, I have no problem with it. I don't really pay attention to all the terminology thrown around sometimes.
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess that's the way you describe GM Fiat. Just like a GM just says something happens.
Yeah, that's the way I always thought it was.
Yeah, it just seemed to fit. It's one of those tools that I don't use very often. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna use this ugly hammer that's rusted in the back that I never use, and use it for this instance because aliens are creepy. Hold on, my wife's calling. I'll be right back.
Well, at least the She butterflies are gone from our necks.
Oh, that's true. What should we do with all of those? What could we decorate with them?
Well, they are in long strings, so we could tie them all together and do something with them.
I was thinking about we plant those bastards on the She, and then we start controlling them.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they're designed to work on the She. Maybe.
We'll find out. We'll just dissect them and we'll do what they do to us.
We'll have to de-string them and put them back together.
Because let me tell you something. That's what I've been thinking about this whole week. I'm like, how is Theo going to get back at these bastards? Because like he's really furious. He just wants them like to feel the same thing he's put him and Anel through, and the baby.
Oh, I'm sure they have felt that. They've savored it. Every scrap of emotion they've extracted from your minds.
Oh, I'm going to savor what I'm going to do to them in turn. They're going to...
Okay, that's good.
That's the whole week I kept thinking about, all right, how's he going to get back at these bastards? I'm going to just be a terror to them. I imagine old man Theo at this point is probably a known terrorist to the She at this point. Because I kept thinking about, like, like how far he's gonna take this. It's like I'm just gonna keep harassing him till the end of my days.
I've decided I'm just not gonna plan anything. I don't know what to prepare for, so I'm just not gonna plan anything.
All right, I'm back, guys. All right, I probably should get going and make some dinner here. So.
All right, sounds groovy.
Okay.
Try to talk to you guys next week.
Yeah. Great gaming with you all. Hopefully we'll have an ample assault force for.
Oh yeah. I'll try to get the recaps up as soon as you upload them, and then I'll get some. I'll try to get those logs done too, as well as I get like the audio logs, and then I'll get like the other logs I've been working on and stuff.
Well, thank you for all your hard work, man. That really helps me out.
No problem.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful stuff.
Because I try to listen to stuff when I'm home with my son, and like I'm trying to jot stuff down. He's like, screaming and crying, running around breaking stuff. It's like, what the hell just happened? You know, then I have to go back and listen to it again. You know, so sometimes it's really hard to jot it all down.
I try to make that because I'm getting used to trying to see how much detail I put into it versus how much do I just leave out. Like what's important, what's not important.
Yeah, I think I had a tendency to put too much stuff in, I guess. That's pretty much.
I'm trying to get the hang of it. I don't know how well I've succeeded.
Well, you're doing great. So, no worries.
Thank
you. All right, guys. I got to go. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye.
All right. Hasta luego. Bye.